Today I'm doing a review on this watch, the Timex Expedition Black. In a previous video I did about why collectors hate Timex watches, specifically vintage Timex watches, in the comments I gave links to some Timex watches in the new version of Quartz that I do like, and one of them was this watch, the Timex Expedition. In this case, I was looking for a watch that had several qualities. I wanted it to be a darker military style look, a field watch look. I wanted it to have a 24-hour dial, or 24-hour dial markers, I should say, and just something rugged, durable, not expensive, something that I could use as a go-to watch. And by that I mean something I could take off, not wear for a week, throw it back on and go. And so I decided to take my own advice and order a new Timex Expedition. Upon receiving the watch, I can tell you right away that I just love the look. This black PVD matte finish case looks beautiful, and some people might be thinking right off the bat, oh, that's probably not durable, it might scratch up. And who knows, it might. I've just got this watch, so I can't say for sure, but I doubt it. The previous version I have, which is a brown case, I've had this for 10 years, taken it on many adventures, and it barely has a scratch after 10 years of use. So I expect it to be the same with the new version. This is a 43mm case, which is exactly 1mm larger than the old version. So it fits well still at 43mm, and because it's a quartz, it's very thin, and it has downturn lugs, so it's a very good fit. Going to the dial, I love the black look of the dial. I love the cream colors on the dial that really stands out, but it doesn't stand out as much as white would. I think if it were white, it would be a bit too flashy. So the cream looks very nice. Of course, it's got the 24-hour indicators, and it's all printed very cleanly and neatly. The other thing about the dial is that the cream color matches the cream on the watch strap, on the leather watch strap. So I think that was a really nice touch from Timex. They're obviously thinking of this watch as a whole and putting everything together. On the dial, there's also a date indicator, and it's really tiny. For me, this is a plus. I rarely use the date indicator on my watches. Sometimes I do when I'm traveling. So I like the fact that it's there, so if I want to use it, I can use it. But being that I don't use it on a regular basis, I like that it's small and unobtrusive. I also like the hands. So very plain hands, but they're really flush and flat against the dial, which gives it a nice touch. The second hand is well balanced. It's sort of like the pommel on a sword. You've got that weight on the small end. And then on the indicator side, just that little splash of reddish orange color, which is the only color on the dial, and I think that adds a nice touch. Another thing that's clearly marked on the dial is the Indiglo indicator. The dial markers on this watch are not loomed, so you won't be able to see them without hitting the crown, but when you hit the crown, the whole background, the whole face of the watch lights up with Indiglo, so it's clear and easy to see. The old version of the watch I have has a 100-meter designation, and I can tell you it did not deserve that designation. I've taken it swimming a few times and had the glass fog up, so I was happy to see the more realistic designation of 50 meters for the new one. Even still, if you've had this watch for a couple of years after you buy it and decide to go swimming, first of all, lose the leather strap, obviously, but if you do go swimming with it, make sure to lube up the inside of the crown and the stem with silicone grease before you go swimming with it, just to be on the safe side. The strap on this watch is very impressive for the price. I've already mentioned that the stitching on the strap matches the dial, which is a nice touch, and the stitching is also very consistent and deep and just well made. The outside of the strap has the dark brown color, which I think makes a nice look overall, contrasting with the black dial. There are a lot of watches out there right now that have the all black look, but I think that this brown strap is a little more interesting and makes it a little more classy than the all black look. So now that I've talked about everything I love about the strap, Here's one thing I don't like about the strap. Well, the inside is good. The backside, the liner that goes against your skin, is nubuck leather, so that's excellent. Nubuck leather is strong, hard-wearing. It feels like suede, so it's very comfortable. However, the backside, the top layer, is genuine cow leather. And so this won't wear as well as a more expensive grade of leather will, and probably in 2 or 3 years it'll start to fade and crack, and I'll have to replace it with another strap. So as much as I love the look of this strap, it isn't so durable and it won't last more than a few years. When it does wear out, I'll take the hardware, the buckles and whatnot from this one, and probably replace it with a nice coffee-colored, high-quality leather strap. I was trying to think of a way to describe the overall look of this watch, and the first thing I thought was that it's quite dark and foreboding for a Timex watch, but it really works with the cream and the black and the dark leather. It all really works as a package. The other word I thought of right away was it looks a bit sinister for a Timex. And as soon as I thought of the word sinister, it immediately reminded me of the 1960s episode of The Flintstones, which is a spoof of the James Bond movie Dr. No. Except, instead of a Dr. No, the episode has a Madam Yes and a Dr. Sinister. To me, this looks like the kind of watch that Dr. Sinister would wear to dinner. Dark and foreboding, yet strangely classy at the same time, and all in natural colors. If you like the look of this watch but maybe aren't quite convinced on buying a Timex or buying a Quartz, there is a very viable alternative I should let you know about, and that's the Hamilton new model that's coming out in March 2020, reference number H70665533. It's very similar looking to the Timex. It also has the black PVD case, it also has the black dial, the cream-colored numbers and the cream-colored hands, and the dark leather strap with lighter stitching. The difference being, of course, that the Hamilton is a lot more expensive. It retails for about $900 instead of $50, and for that, you get an automatic movement, the H10 movement. You get a titanium case instead of steel. You get a higher quality leather strap, and of course the dial and the hands and everything are flawless at that price range. So if you're looking for something, like I said, that has the exact same look but a little higher quality, the Hamilton is a great option. Just keep in mind, if you're buying the Hamilton, make sure you can afford to own it and not just afford to buy it. There's nothing worse than having a field watch that never leaves the boardroom. So what do I dislike about this watch? Well, there isn't much. The size is good. I did prefer the old version that's 1mm smaller, but I can live with this one. One thing to note is that the second hand on the dial, on my version at least, didn't exactly align with the dial markers, and in this price point I suppose that's to be expected. Seiko can't seem to get that right on models that are $300 or $400 more. It is an easy fix. If I wanted to align that second hand to the dial markers perfectly, all I'd have to do is take off the case back, remove the crown and stem, flip it over, and nudge the second hand over a little bit. But I've had it for a month now and I haven't bothered to do that, even though it's only a 10-minute job, so I guess it doesn't bother me all that much. One other thing to note is that the ticking issue is largely gone on this new model of Timex. On the 10-year-old Expedition that I have, the ticking is very loud, and if you put it down on a hard surface like a desk, you can hear it ticking from half a room away. On this one, the issue of the ticking is largely gone, and it's relatively silent. Well, that's my review of the Timex Expedition Black. I hope you enjoyed it. In the comments, I've got a link to this watch on Amazon, as well as to the silicone grease that I regularly use on the crown, stem, and gaskets of my watches, which is very handy. So other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.